Okay, guys, as always, when I do my vlogs, my adventure vlogs, I always do a history of each one. This one is going to be about Letchworth. Letchworth State Park was created by the stroke of a pen of New York State Governor Charles Evans Hughes in 1907. It was a fine addition to the fleeting state park system. The gift of a retired businessman and a philanthropist, William Pryor Letchworth. The new park consisted of the 1,000-acre estate called Glen Iris, which Letchworth had lovingly developed over half a century. The park was a treasure chest full of natural splendor, the history awaiting those who were willing to come and explore it, and for almost a century they have come. Seneca called the place Shenandoah, the vow of three falls, which it actually does have three falls. And if you actually go and watch my vlog for Letchworth and Niagara, you'll see all three falls. They were descendants of the old ones, the native people who had lived in the valley for countless generations. The Senecas hunted, fished, and built their villages within the lands that would become Letchworth Park. Among them, the Degawanas, known by the white men as the Indian captive Mary Jemison, the old white woman of the Genesee. Degwans come to the valley during the Revolutionary War, and from her home on the Gardoux Flats witnessed the transition of the valley from Indian lands to the western frontier of the new United States. Soon pioneers became her neighbors, and they built their farms and communities along the Genesee River. When Dewanos and her family left Shenandoah in the early 1830s, the pioneer era had already passed. From the 1930s to the Civil War, progress swept through the lands of Portage. Soon, the inhabitants of the Glen found themselves linked by the canal and railroads to the outside world. Local products found new markets, and a growing number of tourists came by boat and by trains to see the splendor of the Portage Gorge. But progress had taken its toll. Much of the ancient forest had been reduced to lumber and potash under the upper and middle falls had been harnessed by mills. Visitors would gaze from Great Portage Wooden High Bridge, but they could only imagine how beautiful the gorge had been only a few decades earlier. One visitor believed that what had been could be once more. William Pryor Letchworth bought the land around the middle forest and established the Glen Irish estate. For 50 years, he would expand and develop his holdings, carefully restoring the natural beauty of the valley while opening the grounds to visitors. Mr. Letchworth understood that the Glen's history was important, and he worked to both preserve and present the history to those who come to his council ground and museum, both of which are there for today's visitors to enjoy. It was this Glen Iris estate, a place of natural beauty and rich history, that he gave to the people of New York State. After Mr. Letchworth's death at his Glen Iris in 1910, the park began to transition into being a state park. At first, under the control of the American Scenic and Historic Preservation Society, whose Letchworth Park Committee oversaw the first changes. When the Genesee State Park Commission took over in 1930, they planned many additional improvements to the young park. The Great Depression would have to put a halt on those plans, if not for the Civilian Conservation Corps. Gas line rationing closed the park during much of World War II, but at war's end, the stage was set for rapid growth and development. Under the guidance of state official park administrations, the generations of dedicated park employees, Letchworth State Park continued to grow and evolve. Now, with nearly 14,000 acres and a wide variety of programs and facilities, the park is enjoyed by over 1 million visitors a year. Now, and you'll see in that vlog, both myself and Kurt do not send our drones up because New York State Parks, it is illegal for us to do so. And I will see you in the next one.